How are you?
Afternoon, Wayne. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Nick.
If everyone's ready then, to begin with then, traditional question for this sort of stage in a campaign, how much of a gamble is it to change virtually everyone?
Yeah, some of it is forced through injury and unavailability, and others it's the plan has always been to utilise the squad, and I think we've said that we wanted to do that, and we've certainly said that internally, that by the time this game passes that everyone in the squad would have had an opportunity, both at training and in a match situation. So we're sticking to that.
Quite a remarkable story for James Botham, who wasn't officially in the squad at the start of the week.
Yeah, so James, we had a good look at him earlier in the campaign. So he's been in training with us for a few weeks, released to play for his club, and he impressed. He's done very, very well because we've had obviously in Ross Moriarty and Josh Navidi, a couple of guys who haven't been able to partake so far. So he has been in and around the group. And as I say, he's impressed. He's a player with a very big future, we believe.
And in terms of the back line, you've got two guys there making their debuts in Kieran Hardy and Johnny Williams. Two guys making their first starts in Callum Sheedy and Louis Rees-Summit. Talk us through those.
Yeah, we see it as very exciting. Again, we look at what they're doing in training, the hard work they've put in. We've slipped a few guys into match day 23s over the last few weeks, and it's just been a matter of when would we give these guys that opportunity, and we think this is the game. I think, they've trained together pretty much for 2 weeks now because we've run, obviously, a couple of teams at training. And they've helped prepare the guys that played in the last two test matches. So it's sort of been the other way around this week. But there's been some good combinations in training. And really the ones that have been added to it are Johnny Mack, who's come in late, obviously. But the rest of them have had a bit of time together. So it's looked really, really exciting. And we're interested to see how these boys go.
Was there any temptation to give yourself any more experience, either in the starting lineup or on the bench, just as an insurance policy?
Yeah, as I say, there's some pretty experienced players unavailable. Toby took a knock on the weekend, Jonathan Davies, so those guys have been ruled out. We had hoped that Ross and Navs might be back for this game, but again, just haven't quite made it. So, yeah, look, if we had our way, there may have been a little bit more experience going with it. But as I say, we're confident this group can get a job done for us.
What's the news on Jonathan Davis?
He took a knock to a knee, a medial, so it won't be too long term, I don't think. So hopefully we'll have him right by the end of this tournament.
In terms of Georgia, what are you expecting from them? Obviously, they haven't had quite the preparation they would have wanted.
Well, it's no secret that they've got a very strong forward pack. Their set piece is something that they pride themselves on. And, territory is going to be important for us in this particular game, that we don't give them too many ins to get that set piece dominance that they have had previously, in scoring opportunities. So for us, it's about making sure that, we look after the ball. I think, in previous games, it's well documented in terms of the number of turnovers we've had, and some discipline has let us down. So it's a real focus area for us this week, making sure that we can keep those mistakes to a minimum, be very disciplined. And in our selection, we've put in, who we think are probably the two best scrummaging props at the moment, to give us the best opportunity to have a platform to play off for the exciting backline that we're putting out.
And in terms of the results, obviously Wales want to win every match they play, but is there more pressure on the result this time, given that the last two performances have really been well below par?
Yeah, and that pressure is coming internally from ourselves because we're with each other every day of the week. We want to improve, the players want to improve, and a lot of hard work is going in. But certainly, we understand that results are what people want to see, and we want to see those ourselves. So the guys will be out there very, very determined to not only win the game but put in a very, very good performance, because ultimately that's what we're after.
Do you think the new guys in that very new look backline will be able to strut their stuff in style, or is that too much to ask for?
Well, we'll see what the Llanelli weather throws at us at the moment. It's probably a little bit unsettled. We'll have to wait closer to the weekend. But look, if we get the conditions that hopefully won't be too bad for either side to play a bit of rugby in, then look, these guys will go out there and I'm sure want to express themselves. There's a lot of young guys there who probably, haven't felt the pressure of some of the other matches, the results, because they haven't been involved. And so, in a way, they're young and enthusiastic, and I think we'll see that on the weekend.
Finally, from me, a word on Ewan Lloyd, who could make a debut off the bench. And what's the situation with Rhys Patchell? Was he available or not?
No, Rhys has been released back to his club. He's unable to present match fit really at the moment. He's just come back, obviously, from a shoulder surgery. Only had a handful of minutes for his club, and unfortunately took a couple of knocks with us, and so hasn't been able to train throughout the week. So really what we said to Rhys is to go back, get himself reconditioned, ready to be selected at club level, and then obviously he'll be assessed for the Six Nations. But in terms of Ewan Lloyd, he's a fantastic young talent. We're seeing that in training. He can cover 10 and 15, and he'll be doing that role off the bench this weekend. So he's been running both positions at training. Kicks off both feet, great footwork, good acceleration, and a confident young man. So both him and Callum Sheedy, I've got to say, have come from a very good environment at Bristol. You can see that, and they're working really, really well with the guys around them. So I'm excited for both of them to get out there on this particular weekend.
Thank you, Wayne. Go well.
Thank you.
Hello, Wayne. I just wondered, you talked about pressure coming internally. How does it change the mood when you're a team that's overwhelming favourites to win a game, unlike the last couple of matches you've had?
We haven't really talked about that, to be honest. It's really about the performance and what we want to achieve, and in and around breaking that down. So, at the moment, we've been our own worst enemies. We're giving teams far too much possession and territory, and staying in games for long periods, even with those stats heavily against us. So really, it's about giving ourselves an opportunity. Even par, we'd be happy with in terms of possession and territory. So, look, it's really focusing on eliminating mistakes, working hard in training, making good decisions in training. And we're still making mistakes there as well. So it's an ongoing process. But I'd like to think that we are improving behind the scenes, and that'll start to show on the field. And it needs to pretty quickly.
I mean, you always knew this was a high-profile, high-pressure job. What have the last few weeks been like for you personally?
Like every other week in the Six Nations, pre the lockdown, to be honest, except you don't have the crowds. There's always pressure, we know that, coming into the role. It goes with the territory. But for me personally, I'm remaining focused on doing what's best for these players and making sure that we give them the environment where they can express themselves, they can grow and learn as players. And I think with the coaching group that we've got, the information that they're getting, certainly the feedback from the players, which we get on a daily basis in one-on-ones and group meetings, is that they're enjoying the environment, enjoying the work that they're getting put in front of them. They're frustrated. We're all frustrated that it isn't clicking at the moment, but it's not through the want of trying, and I think that won't change in the coming weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Wayne. Simon, yeah.
Simon, hi.
Hi, mate. Yeah, just a couple of things. On the back row trio who are out at the moment, so Navidi, Moriarty and Faletau, are any of those likely to be available for the England game? And what is the issue with Faletau at the minute?
Yeah, Toby tweaked a medial ligament. It's very low grade, so we're very hopeful that he'll be available for England. That certainly is the advice of the medical team, with the rest this weekend making him a stronger candidate than if he were to play or try to play on it. So it's a precaution. He has tweaked the medial, should be fine. Josh Navidi is training with us. He's doing everything except the contact at the moment. So hopefully he'll be in a position to do some contact, if not at the end of this week, at the start of next week. Clears the contact phase of his rehabilitation, then he would be available for selection. Ross, on the other hand, each time he's come back into training to test it again, it hasn't quite been right. So we're being very cautious on that one because we don't want him to be having to be out for any longer than he needs to. So at the moment, it's just been bad luck for us.
In that area, you've gone with James Botham at 6. Now he's played right across the back row for the Blues. What do you see perhaps as his long-term position? Because certainly is his tackling, which has caught the eye maybe since rugby's return.
Yeah, look, in training, he's a very balanced rugby player. He's very good. He's got very good hands, very good movement with the ball. So he's a good attacking threat as well as a very good defensive player, which you mentioned. He's good over the ball. He's strong. His technique there is very sound. And he's a confident young man without being overconfident. I've been very impressed just with the conversations that we're having, both about rugby and off-field situations, just learning more about the young man. And there's a lot to like about him. He's probably a 7 at the moment, but he has, as you pointed out, played across the back row. The way we'll be playing on the weekend and the way we do play, the jersey number is probably not that important. He'll be used in and out of lineouts. He may be out of some lineouts. And, there'll be times when he'll be playing a bit of left and right on the scrum. So, we're excited to see him go because, as I say, he came into the squad earlier and had a couple of weeks with us and impressed all of the coaches.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Wayne, how's confidence at the moment in this squad? And obviously, it's very difficult when you go on a losing run like this. How are you keeping the guys motivated, or not motivated, but confident, and ensuring that it doesn't become a bit of a rut?
Yeah, look, I think it's a good question for the players, and they're a good group. They're a very honest group, and I think they'd tell you if, they might fear for selection for the following weeks, and maybe they wouldn't tell you. But no, they're a good group, and really, I guess it's whether or not they've got a smile on their face when they come in, whether there's noise in and around the meal room and the sort of areas where they relax. And they're enjoying each other's company. They're certainly very, very disappointed if we're talking about possibly going back and having a run for a club. So look, at this stage, I'm very, very confident that the environment is one where they are learning, they're enjoying coming to work, and they're enjoying each other's company. It's a good group. Often you hear about cliques in teams, but I can guarantee you that there's no cliques in this group. They're all rolling their sleeves up and wanting to do well. They also understand that, at the end of the day, the errors that are being made on the field, a lot of them are individual. Some of them aren't under too much pressure. So, those are personal things that guys take on the chin and work at and try to get out of their game.